So, given that unity is clearly a priority from God's perspective, why do you think it's not happening today? Or maybe a different way to ask that question is, what would you say are major causes of disunity in the church today?
Well, one reason I think, because it is so valuable, because it is so powerful, our enemy, the devil, and all the demonic forces work very hard to keep us divided. And they do that by overemphasizing a particular doctrinal principle or truth to eliminate others if they're not exactly as we think.
So, can you give an example of what you're talking about? Without being too specific, that might be tricky.
Well, a lot of it comes back down to kind of answering another part of your question, is that I think, and I'm talking about leaders, Christian leaders, and the challenges that I've focused on primarily been in my ministry the latter number of years has been on leaders, Christian leaders, and really dealing with my own issues. But insecurity, pride, indifference, these are issues that we all have. And just because we come to know Jesus Christ doesn't take away all these issues. The need for control, to dominate, really self is in the way. And that doesn't take away the sincerity. Like I said earlier, the Apostle Paul was very sincere in his zealous coming against the early church. But he was wrong. And the Lord enlightened him to that fact. So for us, I had to be enlightened. I had been a pastor. I'd started numbers of churches through the years and had been fairly successful, but nothing to the degree that I began to see once we began to be concerned for one another. And when we were praying together, you develop an intimacy when you're praying for each other's spouses, praying for each other's children by name, and for each other's ministries that God would bless. Now, for us, we were meeting, and it grew to meet on a weekly basis. And we would average, 30 to 40 plus senior leaders on a weekly basis, praying for one another. That's a whole shift of priority.
That's huge.
Because I had the excuse, well, I'm too busy. And I didn't go to the first prayer summit that I was invited to. And I think really when I look back on it, it was fear. Fear in me of something I had no control over. And to spend 4 days praying, that was something that was out of my vocabulary of having ever experienced. And so I had to let go of my pride or my insecurities and go. And in doing so, the Spirit of God really worked significantly in my life. And it changed the whole shift of how I did things, both in my local church, as well as, of course, as He began to move to unite us. We were united to pray together, and then we realized that God was leading us to actually function together. And so we began to find ways to minister in such a way that we would bless each other's ministries. I mean, it grew to such a point where we were exchanging pulpits unannounced because we didn't want people shifting. And so that was a huge thing. Now, we had to grow to that place of trust. And so, but it was beautiful. It was amazing. People loved it.